All right, today we're diving into a story that's, well, it's really out there. It sits at this bizarre crossroads between presidential history and a full-blown cosmic conspiracy. We're talking about a secret pact, not between countries, but supposedly between our world and another. This is the story of the Greada Treaty. So it all comes down to this one specific date, February 20th, 1954. It seems like just a normal Saturday during a presidential vacation. But according to this story, it was anything but. I mean, seriously, where was he? Because on that night, the President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower, just vanished. The Secret Service checked his hotel room. It was empty. The Associated Press even put out a bulletin that he died of a heart attack, and then they had to frantically take it back. So the question that kicks this whole thing off is, where did he go? Okay, so Ike is on vacation in Palm Springs, California. The official story that finally gets cobbled together is that he chipped a tooth on some fried chicken and had to be rushed to a local dentist. But here's the thing. The Eisenhower Presidential Library has zero record of this. Nothing. No logs, no dentist name, not a single note. It's just a complete blank space where a pretty important event should be. So you've got these two totally different realities. On one hand, you have a pretty boring, kind of clumsy presidential moment. On the other hand, a secret flight to Edwards Air Force Base for a meeting that would change literally everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. And the crazy part, the official story, the boring one, has way less evidence to back it up than the unbelievable one. Now, the story goes that while the press was chasing this toothache story, Eisenhower was actually at Edwards Air Force Base. And he wasn't alone. He was with this super secret group of scientists and top military brass, a group that would later be known as Majestic 12. And they were going to see something that had been kept under wraps since Roswell. So, inside this hangar, the legend says that two different alien species showed up to the party. And President Eisenhower was basically presented with two completely different paths for the future, not just for the US, but for all of humanity. And man, talk about an impossible choice. The first group, they're described as these tall, blonde, very human-looking beings called the Nordics. They apparently communicated telepathically, and they offered us everything. A golden age, an end to disease, unlimited clean energy. But there was a catch. We had to give up all of our nuclear weapons. The other group, the Greys, these were the classic, big, black-eyed, robotic-looking aliens. They didn't offer peace, they offered power. They promised us tech that would win the Cold War overnight. All they wanted in return was a little privacy and a few of our citizens. And that deal, that alleged handshake with the Greys, that's what has become known as the Greada Treaty. It's the absolute cornerstone of this whole wild legend. A deal made not between nations, but between worlds. So you're Eisenhower. The Cold War is heating up. You're facing the real threat of nuclear war with the Soviets. What do? Well, Eisenhower was a five-star general. And supposedly, he made a general's decision. He chose power. He chose the tech that the Greys were offering. Let's just break down the terms of this supposed deal, because they are chillin'. Number one, we get their tech. Propulsion systems, weapons, you name it, that would put us decades ahead of everyone else. Number two, they get to build and operate secret underground bases right here on U.S. soil. And number three, the real kicker, they get permission to abduct a, quote, limited number of humans for study. The promise was they'd be returned unharmed with their memories wiped. Okay, so that's the story. It's wild, it's terrifying, and it begs the question, is any of this real? I mean, where in the world did this legend even come from? This is where we shift from the what if to the who said. You know, this story didn't just appear out of thin air. It was built, piece by piece, over decades. From the claims of a few people who swore they were on the inside and came forward with some pretty terrifying warnings. And really, it all comes down to two key figures, William Cooper and Phil Schneider. Both of these guys claimed they worked on top-secret government projects that showed them the truth. And they both alleged that the treaty wasn't just real, but that the deal had gone terribly, terribly wrong. And listen to this quote from Phil Schneider. It's one of the most insane claims in this entire mythology. He didn't just talk about papers and treaties. He claimed he was in an actual firefight with Greys after finding out they'd broken the treaty, and that 66 humans died in that battle. Yeah, he even gave a specific year for this supposed battle, 1979. In the lore, this is the moment the secret alliance supposedly shattered and turned into a secret war, hidden miles under the New Mexico desert. Okay, so for the people who believe this treaty is real, this is one of their biggest pieces of circumstantial evidence. Just look at the timeline. Right after 1954, there's this technology explosion that's just unprecedented. Microchips, lasers, fiber optics, all the stuff our modern world is built on, it just kind of appears. Is that a coincidence, or was it part of a deal? But the most compelling and actually historically verifiable piece of this whole puzzle might not come from some whistleblower. It might have come from President Eisenhower himself in the last speech he ever gave as president. Think about it. It's 1961. It's his farewell address. This is supposed to be his victory lap, right? A time to talk about all his accomplishments. But that's not what he did at all. He used his last moments in the spotlight to deliver this really grim, really stark warning to the American people. And there it is. He warned us about something new. A military-industrial complex that had unwarranted influence. He talked about a disastrous rise of misplaced power. So was he just talking about defense contractors? Or was he hinting at something much, much bigger? A power that he himself had let in the door. And that's the question that believers of this theory always come back to. Was this Eisenhower's coded confession? Was this his way of warning us about a deal he made in the desert 7 years before? A deal that handed over unimaginable power to a group that nobody elected and nobody could control. But then again, maybe we're looking at this all wrong. What if the Greada Treaty isn't a literal document, but a modern myth, a kind of parable about the Cold War itself? The choice to chase after bigger and better weapons instead of trying to solve things like hunger and disease. A story about the dangerous bargains we make in the name of security. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought, doesn't it? Whether aliens are real or not, Eisenhower's warning absolutely was. What if the Greada legend is just a scary story we tell to explain a very human truth? That in our desperate search for power, we invited a parasite into our own home. A secret, unaccountable force born right here on Earth. That once we let it loose, we can never really control again.